Today we're joined by Reid Rooney of Betsperts.com, and he tells us how their platform may just be the LinkedIn of sports betting.
This is crazy. This is crazy. This is crazy.
Everywhere you turn, it's the same old sports talk, the same headlines, the same news, and the same boring information. This podcast is here to change all of that. We bring you hot sports takes, winning sports betting strategy and picks, reliable gaming industry news, and breaking interviews with some of the biggest names in sports business. My name is Ryan Knuppel, and welcome to the Noop Sports Show. All right, welcome back to another episode of the Noop Sports Show. I'm your host, Ryan Knuppel, and today I am joined by a very special guest. I have Reid Rooney of Betsperts.com with me today. Reid, are you with me?
I am. Thanks for having me today.
Absolutely. I appreciate you joining me. I am so excited to hear all about Betsperts and all about your journey in the sports betting space. So, Reid, why don't you start off this conversation by telling us a little bit about yourself and I guess how you got started in the sports betting industry before we jump into Betsperts.
Yeah, absolutely. The first thing to know about me is that I played baseball at Central Michigan, and no, we didn't have any problems with our helmet sizes or getting new helmets each year, like one of our most infamous alums at this moment. So, no, I've always been a kind of an entrepreneurial type of guy. It's what I majored in and actually got my master's in as well. But I had a fairly successful sales career previously, nothing to do with sports gambling, looking to get into the space and realized that not only was I not a particularly good gambler, I started to realize how people gambled and what they did. And I couldn't believe with kind of all the legalization coming, there wasn't a crowdsourced option for sports gambling advice that really I thought was well done at this moment. So what we did, we put a business model together where we wanted to make sure that we could get as many users on the platform as possible and have some crowdsourced expertise coming. And I can explain that further, but it really was going through a process of how do people gamble? Why do they pay someone on Twitter $100 a weekend or a couple $100 a year because they claim to be 60% when we can go and crowdsource the expertise, crowdsource the knowledge, and have a better model for users to be accountable, for users to trust the data they're getting and the picks they're getting, but also on top of that, enjoy some social aspects of specific sports gambling communication platform. So from our side, it really started because I wasn't a very good gambler and I didn't know where to reach out to get the credible type of advice I was looking for.
Yeah, well, I mean, who of us are good gamblers? It's a very tough space. It's a very tough game to be in. And you're exactly right. I mean, there's so many places all over the web. I mean, you get drowned with tips and picks and here's my advice and just different services and different things out there. And I think, kind of what you're doing here with Betsperts is trying to kind of rein that in a little bit and bring it, to one spot. So explain, I know you kind of touched on, what Betsperts was, but I don't think you fairly gave us a shot at what it is. So what is Betsperts.com? And, just give us a little more about it.
Yeah. So first of all, it is in the App Store and the Android Store or the Google Play Store as well. But it is a site at its core, what we like to say is the largest crowdsourced sports gambling social media platform that's out there right now. And what does that mean? So at its core, one of its biggest functionalities is you go on, you track your picks, you submit your picks. There are a couple other sites that do something along the lines of what we're doing, but we have some differences. You can't delete your picks. You can't change the lines or odds at this point, and it's because we don't want anyone fudging with any of the records, right? And that does happen, unfortunately, but we're trying to keep the data as consistent as possible across a user's history. So why would people get on the site to track? Because a couple things. We give the most granular level of data on your history of any app out there. So, for example, I'm a big Bears fan, a big Chicago fan, right? So if I was White Sox are my favorite team. If I was going to pick a White Sox, let's call it a White Sox Astros game, I would get it correct. I get the pick correct. I am now 1-0 in all sports, MLB, AL, AL Central, AL West, White Sox, and Astros. So 7 categories I go 1-0, all the way down to the team level. The reason that's important is because everyone's profile is open, everyone's profile is free, and you can see all of their history, you can see all their pending picks and all of their recent picks and any sort of granular level of data, ROI, streak, by conference, by team, whatever you're looking for. And why is that important? You said, who is a good gambler among us? I am not a good gambler, unfortunately, not yet. I'm getting better, but I'm not a good gambler. But I can go and look at the best AL Central gamblers. I can look at the best White Sox, the best Astro gamblers. I can look at the best over-under gamblers. I can look at the best spread gamblers. Whatever I'm looking for, I can go and find that level of data, and I can start to follow their picks. A lot of people on our sites might not be 60% overall. We do have a good amount, and that's the magic number, right? But if I'm going to go bet on some Tuesday night Maction, I'm going to go look at the Mac bettors, and at a granular level, I don't necessarily care as long as they have a decent amount of history. I don't care what their record is in college basketball or maybe even other conferences. If someone is 18-7 in the Mac, I'm probably going to look at their profile and trust them. That's the kind of community we're trying to build.
Yeah, that's really cool. I mean, that's definitely missing in this space, all the granular data. My question for you is, obviously it becomes very, very important that you have data, that you have picks. How do you get or entice, for lack of better words, people like myself to actually enter their picks? Or how do you get that type of data and encourage people to use the platform to enter their picks?
Yeah, that's always the tough part. So a couple things we've learned. One, people either don't track their picks and have absolutely no idea how they do in this level of self-analysis is very good. Like for my example, I found out that I was really bad with the Chicago Cubs because I always bet against them because I hate them. So I realized I should stop betting on the Cubs in that same. I should go and find someone who is a better Cubs bettor, and now it's going to give me a chance to be more profitable with those games and or just stay away from them because I've been losing money. On top of that, some people track on an Excel sheet, which is a pain, or people track on other platforms as well. They already track. So we want to make the better mousetrap, and that's what I think we're doing. The last reason why people might be enticed to do it, and I'm kind of clicking through right now to make sure I have the numbers proper, but people really get into the crowdsourced millennial mindset, I would tell you, and they want to be part of the community. They want to, first of all, show how well they're doing or show how poorly they're doing, but they also believe in the message a lot of the times in these crowdsourced new concepts. And a perfect example of that is currently we have, for a young app, 212 NFL gamblers, over 60% with the minimum amount of picks to meet our standards to get on the leaderboard. So there are 212 gamblers, over 60%. You're going to be part of the largest community of sports gamblers, successful and unsuccessful, because we have a lot that are under 40 or under 50, right? But you're going to be part of this community, and your expertise is going to be taken seriously in whatever you are good at.
That's really cool. Well, first of all, I'm going to share one thing in common with you. I'm going to go a little off track here, a little off topic, but thank you for not liking the Chicago Cubs. I hate the Chicago Cubs. And just remind me after this
sweep this weekend.
I'm a huge St. Louis Cardinals fan personally, so it was like heaven this weekend to see that happen. So they successfly knocked them out. But remind me after this talk, I got a little gift for you that I think you'll like. So I'll leave it at that for now, but I will be sending you a little special gift after this talk. So
thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you'll love it. Okay. Anyway, back to the important part. So yeah, I mean, I totally get it. So, that, because that is one thing that sports bettors, from an actual gambling side. So not from the person looking for picks, but from the person making the picks, people don't really think about, you should probably track your picks, because a lot of people just go out and make bets and they don't really understand how they're doing or what they're good at. But I think the better you get at understanding what you're good at, obviously you can put more money or more time and focus into that area. So I would really encourage, I didn't really think about it from an actual, it's helping me as a sports bettor with my picks. I was thinking more from the other side, and obviously it helps both sides. So I think tracking your picks could be a huge angle there for you listening that don't track your picks. That would be a space to do that. And then obviously the social part of it could be huge as well as you guys grow. So props there. I think that's awesome. Now, do the bettors get anything in terms of, I mean, is there ways for people to buy their picks or for them to subscribe to their picks, or is it just an all free, everything's free platform?
So right now, I would tell you it's ironically, and I'll explain that in a second, its business model on the subscription side is like LinkedIn, a strong freemium with an upgraded premium. Couple features you get when you upgrade is you get unlimited profile views with a free account. You get 15 a day, which is still a significant amount. You get a category we call Sharp Stats, which is a really unique stat breakdown of when certain teams are good and certain teams that are matched up are bad in unique categories, like yards after the catch. There were 5 worst in the NFL, top 5 in the NFL type deal. And then moving forward, you get a better breakdown of the analysis of our users' picks. So instead of searching for a user, you can just go to an individual game, kind of the matchup, and you can look at the Betspert pick tab and organize by any sort of metric you're looking for, really. So if you look at the Bears game tonight, there's a lot of picks in the game. I can sort by the best NFC better. I can sort by the best NFL, by the best Bears, by the best Redskins, whatever it's going to be. And I will see all of their records and their picks all on one page. So I can sort through the people I trust very easily, as well as a greater breakdown of the consensus. Instead of just seeing the consensus is 55-45, you see which way the top 50% of the bet, or any Betsperts over 50% in all those game categories, any Betsperts under 40%, any of the top 10 or any of the bottom 10 Betsperts as a whole, which way they're leaning. And the last feature would be we have a group functionality where you can create your own fantasy gambling group, and anyone can join a group for free, but to be the commissioner, you have to be a paid member. So it's a fairly inexpensive model way to do kind of a who's the best gambler between your buddies or coworkers or whatever you're looking to do.
Sure. That's really cool. As far as data goes, I mean, I'm assuming this is a data intensive site. You're collecting data, but then you also need the scores and the stats and that type of data. I mean, I'm assuming you guys, how quickly, I guess, are the scores and the records updated, and kind of how does that work?
It's a great question. So the odds and the lines and all of that are updated every minute or so. So that is fairly consistent. It doesn't have to be every couple of seconds like real operators because there are no real bets here, but every minute or so has been sufficient so far. And the results, the games, it's somewhere between 5 and 15 minutes, depending on the traffic, but your profile is pretty instantly updated with all the stats and all the metrics and everything along those lines. So it's interesting though, and we've seen, and I talked a little bit about it earlier, we've seen kind of the social side of the site take off as well. We not only crowdsource all of the expertise, but we crowdsource the conversation, we crowdsource the content as well. So if you want to start writing blogs, you want to get in the industry and be a writer, we have a functionality in an area where you can create your own blog and publish it. We have let's call it similar to a feed that you might see on a Twitter or a Facebook, where you can sort it specifically by sports gambling tags. And the conversation throughout all the games have been great. People are giving each other's picks, recommendations, having conversations specific to sports gambling. So it's not only the social side, but it's the content side, and it's the pick and the data side as well. So it all kind of comes together, and that's why I mentioned LinkedIn earlier as well. We had one of the top sportsbook product folks in the country tell us that if we have enough people on the site, it's going to become the LinkedIn of sports gambling, because one, you can edit your profile to blow it up or make it better from picks, so it's trustworthy and accountability. But the transparency of your sports gambling resume is for everyone to see, kind of like LinkedIn in your resume, as well as you can crowdsource that, or you can start to read your content in blogs or if you want to go work at the Big Ten Network in a couple of years, something along those lines, become a Big Ten gambling expert or a Betspert, as we call them, and you can have one place to show all of your interactions, all of your comments, all of your activities, and all your history. So we really enjoyed that comparison, and I think it sums it up pretty well.
Yeah, I love it. That's awesome. I love the name too, Betsperts. It just fits into about every way you want to say it. Become a Betspert. Yeah, it's very clever there. So good job. All right, let's shift gears just for a second. So obviously, here in the United States, where we're both based, sports betting is booming now. I mean, we're up to 13 to 15 states that are legal, and we're all kind of loving all of the interest that we're seeing from different states in the sports betting arena. How much did the legalization of sports betting in the United States in that whole conversation, how much did that, I guess, encourage you guys to start this site, or did it not have any relationship to each other?
It absolutely did. So we will only partner with regulated U.S. books and regulated U.S. states. We don't have to really worry about going across state lines or illegal states, because at this point there is no bets paid out here. This is not a site to gamble on. So the regulations for us is not an issue, but each state that becomes legal is beneficial because the market grows, right? Sure. Or the market becomes more public, maybe. Eilers and Krejcik, they're great in the industry and do reporting on kind of the size and scope of the industry. And I think they said there's 14 million gamblers in 2018 or 2019. In 4 years or so, it's going to be about 45 million. So the market's going to triple in 3 or 4 years. It's going to be a fun ride to be on. But yeah, we definitely were intrigued by the emerging legal market.
Any predictions yourself on, let's say, will we ever get to all 50 states? And how long do you think this whole process will take to start legalizing states?
Well, being from one of the most corrupt states of the 50 in Illinois, I'm baffled that we're going to have it January 1st, even though there are some weird rules to make sure people get taken care of in Illinois. I would be very surprised on a few states if they got there within the next 5 years. I think after they see some of the taxes and successes across the country, I think if there's 46 states that are legal, it's very difficult the other 4 not to be. But I do think it'll be 10 years or so before we really have a chance at all states being legal.
Interesting. Yeah, it's it's such a fun time. I really have loved all the news and following it all and everything. So one more question. So you said you had an app. You have Apple and Google, correct? So you have the Google Play app, an Apple app, the website. What's I guess the easiest way for these people to get out there and start using the platform? I mean, is it a simple sign-up process? Give us a little bit of info so everybody listening can go out and grab an account. Is it pretty simple?
Yeah, absolutely. So Apple, Android, probably the easiest because everyone's just on the phone all the time, but we do have a website. It is a free sign-up. We would love for you to upgrade to the subscription, but it is a free sign-up. And what I would tell you to do is just try it out. I mean, if you use gambling apps, I think you'll see some similarities and some significant differences, especially on a lot of the granularity of the reporting and kind of the community feel and people's profiles being open. And we don't really tolerate any sort of trolling of folks in any capacity. So we're trying to build a positive community for sports gamblers to share their history and their conversation. So give it a shot. If you don't like it, or if you have some suggestions, my email is I help run the Twitter account and all that, or there's a contact Betsperts, but my email is reid@betsperts.com. I'm the CEO of Betsperts. I'm more than happy to listen and add your feedback to our list if it makes sense in our future. We know that we're crowdsourcing all this data and content, but we want to crowdsource the ideas as well and continue to implement as many strong ideas to make this the gambling app of the future.
That's awesome. Well, I really, applaud you for what you've done so far, and I can't wait to see what comes from Betsperts. And I'll definitely continue using the platform myself, and I'll try to get all my buddies on it as well. So we'll have a little fun out there with it. So, Reid, I won't take all of your time today. I'll let you get back to work today. But I do appreciate you joining me and kind of giving us a little insight as to what Betsperts is. And I wish you nothing but the best as you continue to grow.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you having me on. And I will tell you, it's going to be a glorious day when those White Sox win the World Series the next couple of years and Cubs continue to not make the playoffs, hopefully.
That's right. I will follow up with you on my my promise to deliver. You'll laugh at the story. I didn't want to tell it on the air, but I have a little something for you. So anyway, Reid Rooney of Betsperts, appreciate it again. Head on out there to the app, head on out to the website, betsperts.com, get signed up, and I expect some big things from these guys. So, Reid, thanks again, and have a great day.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Noob Sports Show. If you enjoyed this podcast, please consider subscribing to our iTunes channel today. Plus, visit us at noobsports.com for more picks, previews, strategy, and news. That's knupsports.com.